As a co-founder, Nandan Nilekani played a stellar role in building Infosys into a world-class institution. He then spearheaded the mammoth government project Aadhaar to give unique digital identification number to every Indian. His brilliant run as a technocrat in the government was followed by an unsuccessful shot at politics. Now Nilekani is active in the startup ecosystem as a mentor and an investor, besides being involved in a host of philanthropic and public service activities. He speaks to VCCTV on his engagement with the startup world and his public service initiatives.
Hi, we have with us Nandan Nilekani, Infosys co-founder and father of Aadhaar. We would like to start with your post-government phase. So, what is the best way to describe your activity, your interest, in this phase of your trajectory? Is it a technology and e-governance evangelist? We see you more often on those platforms, or is it as an investor? Of course, you do some level of investments, or is it a philanthropist?
Well, actually, now historically, I've done one thing for a long time, right? I was in Infosys as a co-founder for close to 30 years, and then I spent single-mindedly worked on the Aadhaar project. But now I have a wider portfolio of activities. The bulk of them are actually public service oriented. For example, I advise NPCI on mobile payment strategy, and I think in the next few months we'll have a completely new revolutionary mobile payment architecture for India, which will make India go cashless and all that. Then based on the Aadhaar, there's been a lot of what we call as the India stack. You can do authentication, KYC, digital certificates. So we believe that architecture plus the mobile payments will allow you to do paperless, presence-less and cashless transactions, which will revolutionize both business and government. Then the other big thing that my wife and I are doing is supporting something called Ekstep, where we're building a platform for literacy and numeracy on smartphones that we think has a big role in addressing India's fundamental literacy numeracy challenges. Then I'm on the board of IIHS, which is working on urban governance, housing, climate change adaptation, many things, sanitation and all that. Then, of course, I'm the president of NCAR, which is an economic think tank. And then I'm also in the startup ecosystem because I was very interested in seeing what is happening. So one is as a volunteer with iSpirit, I help in the overall ecosystem development. And I do a few select investments. I mentor a lot of companies, but I have no interest. I just help them. And a few ones I actually get deeper into them and invest also.
Okay, sure. It looks that you've been focusing on the fintech side in terms of at least
No, fintech. I'm not an investor.
Not an investor. I'm saying from the
ecosystem
development point of view. So you still, although you left Aadhaar, you still continue to be in some ways involved in the governmental.
Well, I'm not really officially involved, but from time to time, different people come to me for some specific inputs. I'm happy to share that with them. And many of the things that we are doing now are outside the government. Getting users to use. Getting companies to use, startups to use, business to use, governments to use. So it's like adoption oriented as opposed to the core platform, which is done and which is run by the government.
So in the last 3 months, you have given quite a number of talks on fintech and on how India is moving to a digital cash society and the WhatsApp moment of fintech. So why have you focused on fintech, and how do you see it's going to transform our lives?
Well, Aadhaar, one of its major applications is financial inclusion, and so along with Aadhaar, when we built that platform, and now there are some 940 million people on Aadhaar, we work closely with NPCI, which is the National Payment Corporation of India, which is like the Indian version of Visa or MasterCard, and built their payment Aadhaar interface. So like Aadhaar payment bridge and Aadhaar enabled payment systems and so on. So Aadhaar and financial inclusion and fintech has always been related. But since then, I was actually preparing for a talk at TIE Leapfrog. And as I assembled all the data, I realized that everything was coming together at the same time. Mobile phones, smartphones were coming, Aadhaar payments were coming, cashless was coming, eKYC was coming and so on. NPC had a very popular product called IMPS,
Okay.
which has become the leader in remittances.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in 3 years it became a market leader. So what happens with technology is that if you get it right, then suddenly the usage goes up.
Yeah.
So when I looked at the entire set of things, I realized that actually we are at a very critical point in financial services industry, and I sort of had to give some kind of a peg. So I talked about the WhatsApp moment and how WhatsApp came and upended the whole communication industry. SMSs went away and everybody does WhatsApp, and that had a big impact on telecom revenues. So I basically made the point that we are at a very similar point in financial services, and technology is now at a point where it has the ability to do major disruption of
On financial
transactions. Plus the regulator has done a lot of innovation by giving 21 new licenses for payment bank and small banks. So my argument is that I don't know who's going to be the winner in this. It can be the incumbents, maybe the new guys. I don't care who wins. But definitely there is going to be a massive disruption happening in financial tech, which is good for India. The Indian economy will go from high value, high profit, low volume, high cost, to low value, low profit, high volume, low cost. And that switch is going to dramatically expand penetration of consumption of financial products. It's very, very important for India.
So for the masses, how is it going to?
Yeah, because today financial transactions are high value. Typical ATM transaction withdrawal is some 3,000 rupees. A cheque is some 70,000 rupees. That's not whereas I want a person to do a 10 rupee digital transaction. Now the mobile companies have done that very successfully, right? You can do a 10 rupee recharge. So once you do a 10 rupee recharge or a 5 rupee data pack, then suddenly a billion people can buy it because their affordability is that. Right? So same thing now in financial service, that has not happened. You have a high value, high cost transactions. So if you can bring in that 10 rupee transaction thinking into financial services, suddenly a billion people can use it. So that's the revolution that is going to happen.
So moving on to the entrepreneurship side, in your first book, you have, you called yourself an accidental entrepreneur. So of course, Infosys is represents the success of a bunch of first generation entrepreneurs from middle class background. These days we see a lot of youngsters taking to entrepreneurship at a very young age, at a very early stage of their lives. So what more do you think need to be done to encourage this and to make this very big ecosystem something similar to Silicon Valley?
No, I think it's beginning to happen. I think first of all, socially, it's more and more people, young people are willing to be entrepreneurs. So we have people coming out of college, straight away jump, which is a very good sign. So the people are there. I think these young entrepreneurs are very ambitious, very dynamic, very bold. They think big and they're ready to take big risks. So that's very positive. The second is, I think the money is coming in now, right? You have money coming in from venture capitalists, from hedge funds, from the big investors like SoftBank and Alibaba and Yuri Milner and all these guys. So the money part is happening. The infrastructure is happening where India is now a country where smartphones are already at 150 million, going to go to 500 million. Bank accounts are becoming ubiquitous. Aadhaar is reaching 1 billion people. So infrastructure is falling into place, capital is there, entrepreneurs are there, ecosystem is building. One of the companies which I've invested called Let's Venture is a platform for matching angel funding to startups. So as you build more and more of these capabilities, you're going to create a way for more and more people to be entrepreneurs. And then once you have that engine going, then innovation will happen.
So you are saying that it would probably reach the scale and size and probably the democratic character of
obviously, I mean, Silicon Valley is Silicon Valley, and it's been around for 60, 70 years, right from the times of Hewlett and Packard starting in a garage. But so that is a unique thing on the planet. But I think Bangalore and India certainly has a huge chance to build something, and that is the future of India. Using innovation to drive startups, job creation and new products and services is the way to go. So I think it's very important.
Okay. You mentioned about Let's Venture. So of course you have made a number of investments. Although you invested in Mubble, you invested in
Which one?
in Fortigo, in and Mubble. Yeah. Okay. And then you invested in in a diverse set of companies, like probably Juggernaut is there, and then Team Indus. So it's actually diverse set of investments if you look at it. So one is an aerospace company, the other is a truck industry solution, and another one is a telecom operator solution. So is there a theme?
Well, I think I'm looking for original ideas and original solutions. So some of them are in the engineering space. So obviously, Team Indus is a very ambitious project to put a robotic rover on the moon. I mean, that's as big as it gets. So I think we should encourage young Indians who think like that. So that is Mubble, again, very interesting product. It's a mobile app which allows people to manage the data consumption, which is a huge thing because Indians are very conscious of the data plans and consumption. And once you have that, then you can build adjacencies around that. Juggernaut, again, VCCircle comes with a fantastic reputation as a publisher, and I know they saw a new catalog. It's very impressive. Within 6 months, she has a fantastic catalog of books and authors. So I'm looking for things where even Let's Venture, Shanti and a partner are very, very good. So I'm not looking for Me Too company. I'm looking for things that are trying to do things. The other thing which I find interesting is organizing India's unorganized economy. So Fortigo is a good example because Fortigo is going to reorganize the back end of trucking and so on. So I think this whole smartphone revolution and data revolution is going to give us a new way to organize unorganized sectors. So I'm just looking for things that will have this kind of an impact.
So there is no sectoral preferences or?
No, I only have rules what I don't do. I don't invest in fintech because there I do policy work. I don't invest in Aadhaar because I don't want to profit from my work. And I don't invest in education because there I only do philanthropy.
But otherwise, you're quite open to probably
that removes
original ideas.
Three big things. But anyway. And I invest actually just for the fun of it. It's, it keeps me up to date on trends and technologies. So it's just more being in the flow.
How are you going about discovering potential companies to invest? Do you encourage a lot of pitches to come your way?
Well, actually, a lot of people approach me. A lot of people approach me just for advice or strategic validation or mentoring or whatever. So I meet, the number of companies I meet is far more than the companies I invest. So among some of them, if I find it's not fintech, not Aadhaar, not education, and it's a new idea which is going to change some part of India's economy, then I look at it. And if I like the entrepreneurs and so on.
And there is already some skepticism that's probably a phase of it, especially around the consumer tech and all that. So how do you find, what do you like about the Indian startup, because the way that it evolves, and where do you think that there are some issues that need to be addressed?
Well, of course, if the way the consumer thing is panning out, the belief is that you need to do big investment, get customer acquisition. It's okay if you make losses, and over time you have a path to profitability. And that's the broad theory, and that there's a winner takes all kind of situation and so on. So that may or may not be true, but I think it's good because you see, rapid change happens only when you are willing to do these kind of investments. Some may succeed, some may not succeed, but the change, the acceleration of change is being brought about. That I think is great news.
I think with that, we come to a conclusion of the,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.